Hello there. Welcome back to my Good Enough Mum page today, Tuesday, 9:15. And what I wanted to talk about today was the difference of the glass half full and the glass half empty, and being grateful when actually we feel like grumbling. And I thought I'd share a couple of little stories to illustrate what I'm going to be talking about today. So on Friday, we've got an evening planned. I've arranged it with my good friends a couple of months ago, where I'm going to be hosting an evening with some girls, and we're going to sit around and chat and eat little snacks and generally just enjoy each other's company. And I was quite disappointed when a couple of them have had to cancel or say they weren't sure that they were coming because of commitments that they really can't avoid that have come up since we arranged it. And to be honest, my attitude was one of, well, what's the point of going ahead with it? And, well, we might as well just cancel it and try and rearrange it. And of course, it's so difficult when you're arranging something with a few people. So we're going ahead anyway. And I really was having an internal grumble to myself about it, because I was thinking, well, it won't be the same and I won't enjoy it as much. And, you know, sort of thoughts like that. And then I caught myself and what I was doing, and I realised that what I was doing was I was thinking about what I was going to get out of the evening, whereas in actual fact I could instead focus on what I am going to give. And of course, especially as I'm hosting it, I could actually really go to town in terms of what sort of food I want to cook, and how I want to make my room look nice, how I want to welcome people, and how to make the evening really special for them. And of course, as soon as I started thinking along those sorts of lines, the evening suddenly seemed to be a lot more fun, and I could start really having fun in the planning and the execution, rather than thinking, oh, well, it won't be the same because ... And that sort of changed my mindset. And that's what I wanted to share, really, because I think so often we can think about, what am I going to get out of a situation, or what's this situation giving me, rather than thinking, what can I actually do to make this situation really great and fulfilling, and maybe looking at it differently. And one of the illustrations that came to mind is from Susan Jeffers' book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. And I just had a quick glance through it again this morning. Couldn't find the story I was looking for, but what a marvellous book. And if you haven't read it, I really do recommend it. It's such a classic in the self-help sort of library. Anyway, she talks about one of the people who was in one of her groups who was complaining about her work and saying, you know, this really isn't the job that I want to be doing. You know, I just feel really fed up with it, and I wish I didn't have to go into work and every day's the same, and just generally feeling really downhearted about work and, you know, to be honest, grumbling about it. And Susan suggested that she change the way she looks at work. She said, I know it's not the job that you want, but why don't you act as if it were the job that you wanted? What would you do differently if it wasn't just a case of thinking, this job is marking time? And the person who she challenged decided to take up the challenge and came back the following week and reported how she'd done things like she'd taken a plant into work to cheer her desk up. She'd really kept an eye out to see how she could help other people around her, and just how much this had changed her experience of work. And it had also changed the experience that people around her, how they experienced her. And she got positive feedback because she'd actually been really helpful that week. And as a result, she actually started to enjoy the job a lot more. And I think, I can't remember exactly, but I think it may have resulted in a promotion, or at least, at the very least, she was able to sort of gain new skills. And she learned from that experience. I think that's a lovely illustration of how we can if we give, if we go in with a giving mindset, what a difference actually that makes to us and the people around us. And something else that came to mind today, when I first had my children, I found not working any longer, going on maternity leave. I'd planned to take quite a long career break, and I found it actually quite hard. I hadn't realised how much I'd miss work, because I thought that I'd enjoy the experience of childcare more than I actually found myself doing, because I felt quite sort of lonely and isolated, and I didn't really have a sense of purpose, because obviously bringing up children is a long-term job, and although that was my main focus, I missed really having sort of short-term goals, I suppose, and having a sense of contributing in a work way. And so what I decided to do was to volunteer, and I worked as the editor of our local NCT, National Childbirth Trust, newsletter, and one thing led to another, and I gradually became more involved with NCT, and eventually I decided to train as an NCT teacher, and I worked in that job for a number of years, and eventually it led to me training in listening skills, and that eventually led to me becoming a counsellor, and that has led me to where I am today, and sort of constantly working on growth and trying to support people, and refining more and more the way I do that. And I just think, gosh, I was saying to someone this morning who was involved in NCT with me and is still working for them, that was one of the best decisions I ever made. And it was about, giving. It started off that I wanted to give, and it wasn't completely altruistic. It was because I wanted to be involved with other women and enjoyed the company that doing that volunteering gave me. But boy, did it make a difference to my life. And I do feel really grateful for that. And so my thought today is, can we turn things around? Can we, when we're in a situation, actually look for the ways that we can make a difference to that situation rather than complaining about it? What can we do that would change ourselves in that situation? How can we use that situation to help us grow? What can we give rather than what can we get? I hope that's a helpful thought for you. Please do take a look at my blog, which will be out later in the week at thegoodenoughmum.com/blog. And if you want to contact me, either here via Messenger or on my Talk to Joe page, you'd be very welcome. It is all confidential. I'm the only one who sees the messages, and we can discuss any concerns that you have. Take care of yourself and have a good day. Bye.